Ben Simmons wants out of Philadelphia reportedly, and NBA stock market Northwest division coming up right here at Locked On NBA Thursday.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, and welcome to another Thursday edition of Locked On NBA. I am Jackson Gatlin, host of Locked On Rockets. He is Matt Moore, senior NBA writer at the Action Network and co-host of Locked On Nuggets. Matt, Ben Simmons and his time in Philadelphia appears to be drawing to an end.
Oh, this is messy. This is so messy, Jackson. I'm so excited to talk to you about this because there's so many layers that I think that most fans don't realize what's going on. It's so great. I'm enjoying very much this drama, especially we got Joel Embiid's tweets. We've got Kendrick Perkins involved. It's great. Everything. It's fantastic.
We just finished talking about Rich Paul, too, in our last episode. And so that's another layer to what's going on here. His connection with Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey. There's a lot going on here. But before we dive into all of the, the nitty gritty, the juicy details on all of this, a quick little bit of news right at the top. Clint Capela and the Atlanta Hawks agreeing to a 2-year, $46 million extension. So good for Clint Capela and the Hawks, coming to terms on that agreement. His contract originally agreed upon when he was still a Houston Rocket before being traded to Atlanta. Big part of what they're doing down there. The young core now fully locked in for the future with Trae Young's extension, John Collins extended, and now Clint Capela receiving an extension as well. So that young core coalescing, growing together. Really exciting stuff happening in Atlanta. But Matt, Ben Simmons. It's so much going on. What direction do you want to go first here with this? Other than we're going to hit we got prospective trade hypotheticals. You mentioned the tweets already. Where do you want to go first? There's so many angles.
Okay. So here's, let's start here. So reportedly Ben Simmons has told the front office that he doesn't intend to report to camp. I could tell you that everyone, this wasn't when this news broke that he was had told them he wanted out and was not going to report to camp. I was not fazed at all because everybody in the NBA has been operating under the assumption that he has informed them he wanted out months ago. This has been coming. There's never been maybe they can patch things up. Everyone in the league knows the deal. It's just about whether or not Daryl Morey can get the kind of deal that he wants for him. So
writing's been on the wall. You have the comments from Embiid. You got the subtweeting from Doc, or not even the subtweeting from Doc Rivers, but there's just the, can he be, the point guard on a championship team? And he's like, oh, I don't know. What? That's so brutal.
Do you want to go the trade route discussion, or do you want to go the messy drama direction? Which way do you want to go, Jackson? Because I have stuff for you for both.
Let's start messy drama first, and we'll see if we can squeeze in some trade stuff at the end.
So here's my favorite part of this. This is my favorite part of this. Last week, Jake Fisher of Bleacher Report reported on the Nerlens Noel lawsuit that we talked about last week on the show. And in that article on Bleacher Report, Jake reported that he backed up the assertion that several teams had not been contacted by Rich Paul, despite having interest in signing Noel. In that article, Jake, an excellent reporter and the author of a book on the tanking process in Philadelphia, I might add, reported that two teams, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Houston Rockets, were both interested in signing Noel and couldn't get through to Rich Paul. When Nerlens Noel was a free agent, who was running the Los Angeles Clippers, Jackson?
Oh, why am I blanking on this?
Doc Rivers.
There we go, Doc Rivers. It took me a second. It's been a long day. All right. Anyways, Doc Rivers, continue.
And this one should be easier for you. And who was running the Houston Rockets when Nerlens Noel was a free agent?
Daryl Morey.
And so you have Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers running organizations that talked to Fisher, somebody in the organization, not saying it was those guys, somebody in the organization talked to him in an article asserting, basically backing up the idea that Rich Paul, who's currently in a conflict with the Sixers, whose head coach is Doc Rivers and general manager is Daryl Morey, over Ben Simmons. Then you have the report that came out earlier this week that there was a report about Tyrese Maxey and how he was canceling stuff. Kendrick Perkins got involved and refuted the Tyrese Maxey stuff And if you're wondering how that works out, well, Perkins is good buddies with LeBron, and LeBron's obviously wrapped by Klutch. This is messy. Like, that's been the whole thing under the subtext is this is not just like a thing with Simmons and the Sixers. This is also involves Rich Paul. Like, this is a whole cluster of NBA drama going on out in Philly.
Clutchster? There we go. I tried to work the pun in there. Great job, Matt. This is a PG-13 friendly program. Okay, no. I think that I've asserted this for years now, but the NBA is the best soap opera on running television right now. Like just the drama that takes place off the court, and then you get into all these different ties, the social circles, all of this. And we're seeing it all play out in real time with the Ben Simmons situation and just how ingrained Klutch is and how many different angles there are and all the politics at play here. And frankly, I'm deriving a little bit of enjoyment out of this just because Daryl Morey abandoned ship in Houston right before the onset of the James Harden trade request. And now he's just a year, not even a full year removed from that, now having to deal with another star and forcing his way out of a unsavory situation. And he has even less leverage here because Ben Simmons is not James Harden. And he also has less leverage in this situation. Like it's just a little bit of, cosmic karmic retribution. That's all.
I will say that based off of what I've understood about the situation, it was less a matter of Daryl sneaking out or abandoning ship and more that the owner of the boat had a gun pointed at him and was telling him he had to get off of the ship. So, but that's like an entirely messy thing. Can I ask you about Joel's tweets?
Yeah, go for it.
So, Jeff Zilgett of USA Today, a really trusted, reliable reporter, reports that the Simmons Embiid rift has been escalating. A person with knowledge of the situation told USA Today Sports. Embiid responded and quote tweeted it from an aggregation site and said, "Sources, trust me, bro. Stop using my name to push people's agendas. I love and hate drama. I love playing with Ben. Stats don't lie. He's an amazing player, and we all didn't get the job done. It's on me personally. I hope everyone is back because we know we're good enough to win." He comments about how Philly fans have kind of crushed Ben, and then he says, "For clarity, I love the criticism. I love when I'm told I can't do something. It makes me work harder to prove everyone wrong, but not everyone is built like that." Some people, like the Sixers fans, were obviously like, no, he's supporting Ben. And we're all like, no, he's not. That's not what you say if you're supporting Ben. What are your thoughts on Joel's comments? First of all, before you just need to make this very clear. That's not the guy to come at, bro. Like, that's not the one. In the media circles, Jeff is solid as a freaking rock. He's never reported anything that has been inaccurate. That is absolutely an inaccurate description of Jeff Zilgett and how he does business. Okay, what do you think about Joel's tweets?
I definitely, for the for clarity one, I definitely think that reads as like some subtweeting there because that's not the way you follow that up. Right. Like in just the specifically, but not everyone is built like that. Like just that line. And I can kind of see how some people would try to defend that and be like, no, he was defending Ben. But I don't know. I just think that ultimately, I think a lot of the, like, even at times, like the on the court frustrations, the visible, like just, I don't see it. I don't see the relationship lasting there. And I think it's more just a PR stunt, if anything, to, by Joel Embiid to kind of try and say the right thing, do the right thing. If anything, maybe Daryl Morey's texting him and saying, "Hey man, you got to jump on Twitter and like help me out here. Just, help out just a skosh."
Yeah, maybe you got everything that comes out. Daryl's gonna be like, "Stop that," which is the other kind of side of this. Can we take a break and we can talk about the trade stuff on the other side before we do stock report?
Yeah, we got to talk about the trade stuff because we got, there's definitely a couple trades that are absolutely staring me in the face. And we're going to get there in just a moment after a message from our friends over at Sweat Block. Because look, sweating is uncomfortable. It's not fun unless you're at the gym working out. Like, that's fine. That's the one place you want to sweat, right? But when you're going about your day, running errands, business meetings, maybe you're going out for a first date, hang out with friends, sweating is uncomfortable. It can cause anxiety. It can make you just, you lose your confidence. You don't want to have to worry about what you're going to wear when you're going out, that kind of stuff. Sweat Block can help you out with that. It's doctor created, doctor recommended, Works for up to 7 days per application. They have a dry shirt guarantee where if you don't have a dry shirt after using Sweatblock, you get your money back, guaranteed, no questions asked. Sweatblock is a stronger and more effective clinical antiperspirant alternative. You just put it on right before you go to bed, wake up the next morning, go about your day, do your routine, all that good stuff, and you're going to have dry arms. You're not going to be sweating through your clothes. None of that. No more awkward, worrying about what you're going to wear. No more worries about, are you going to sweat all the way through your shirt or anything like that? Just go about your day without any of those worries. So if you or someone you love is dealing with this, you have to check out Sweatblock. Get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com with promo code LOCKEDON. Also available at Amazon and CVS. So again, that's 20% off at sweatblock.com when you use promo code LOCKEDON.
We're also brought to you by DirecTV. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows, you're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. We'll be right back on Locked On NBA.
And continuing on here at Locked On NBA Thursday, getting ready to dive into some Ben Simmons trade hypotheticals because, Matt, there are two that are just staring me in the face. And that is Portland Trailblazers and Golden State Warriors.
Okay. So here are the two that surfaced this week. And again, I just find it fun to point out this stuff to listeners that may not be thinking about the bigger picture. So the two reported this week. The Raptors were mentioned by Shams Charania. The two other teams that have been mentioned in discussions are the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Sacramento Kings. Those are kind of weird options. Not exactly juggernauts, not having a whole lot of all-stars on those teams, right? Gerson Rosas is the GM of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Gerson Rosas used to work with Daryl Morey in Houston.
Yep.
Monty McNair is the GM of the Sacramento Kings. Monty McNair used to work with Daryl Morey in Houston. Now, look, it's true that the most likely trade partners are always people that the GMs have a prior experience with. But if you're Daryl Morey and you're still trying to get the trade value up, calling your old friends, your old colleagues, the people that worked with you, and being like, hey, why don't we put out there that we're discussing a deal because it'll raise the value as a favor. That seems pretty plausible. The Blazers one, are you talking about the Dame one or the CJ one?
The CJ one, because I don't think a Dame for Ben Simmons package makes sense for Portland at all. Not until Dame comes out publicly and is like, yeah, I want out or something to that effect, right? That would have to be catastrophic. And obviously Philadelphia, Daryl Morey, they're, were trying to bide their time and hopefully maybe see if things kind of played out that way. But right now, the one that's staring me in the face is the CJ McCollum trade.
So I think it makes sense, but by all accounts, Morey just isn't if Morey wanted CJ McCollum, that deal would be done. It'd be done. Well, I would think it would be done. There's a line of thinking from the people I know that are close in Portland that Neil O'Shea is basically never going to trade CJ because that's the guy that he drafted and he's very attached to him. That Neil O'Shea is just going to hold on to him. I agree. It makes sense on the surface. I do have a nice little three-way though for you involving.
We love a good three-way
involving the other team that you mentioned.
When you set me up for that.
When you mentioned your trade options. So I love the idea. Ben Simmons goes to the Warriors. Draymond Green goes to Portland. And CJ McCollum and pieces go back to the Sixers, including pieces from Golden State. That gives Dame an all-star, all-defense role man that can pass and hit guys and do all of that. The shooting is obviously an issue, but you are loading up to make a run with Dame, getting him a top-level defender and a pick-and-roll option who can actually create off the dribble with Yusuf Nurkic can't, in Draymond Green. It gives the Warriors a long-term upgrade over Draymond as Draymond gets older, and obviously Draymond is Draymond and has drawn the ire of the organization at several points. And with CJ McCollum and something else going back to the Sixers, maybe Daryl Morey gets a few more pieces out of the deal. I think the issue is still that none of these trades, including like the Sacramento talks, reportedly the Kings said, just so you know, Fox is not an option. I don't know that the Sixers are all that interested. Morey continues to be very firm in like, you have to get back a number 2 guy, like a clear number 2 guy. And whether it's Portland not wanting to trade McCollum or Sixers not believing in McCollum as a number 2 guy on a championship team, either way, it doesn't seem like there's like a fit there that fits what all these teams are kind of going for.
At least not a 1-for-1 fit. I like that 3-team trade scenario. I am not inclined to believe that the Warriors would trade Draymond at this point. I get it, and I see the clear upgrade and all of that, but then there's just that level of like, he's still Draymond Green. He's still so important to what that franchise has accomplished. And
but you think about ownership, right? Light years. Like the whole tension point came from ownership believing that the organization that they built was why they were great on top of Steph, right? And that I think there's a lot of love and appreciation for Draymond, but especially after the KD interview, like at some point, I mean, we've been waiting for the Draymond thing to blow up in Golden State for a long time. And maybe it never happens. Like, you're right. Like, maybe, and honestly, this may be as simple as Steph Curry being like, nope, Draymond's my guy. I'm keeping Draymond no matter what. I will be unhappy. But, like, Steph has never been the type of guy to kind of exert that kind of pressure, right? Like, he doesn't do that. If they trade him, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to miss playing with him. It sucks, but that's how it goes.
We don't know. We don't know how he doesn't look like he publicly throws his weight around, but we don't know how much he throws his weight around in private.
Sure.
So that's a possibility, but we didn't even get to my Andrew Wiggins for Ben Simmons trade scenario, which is completely out of left field. And that would just be a poo-poo platter to take back if you were Daryl Morey.
You just want to suggest that one because you want revenge on Morey. You just want Daryl Morey to get Wiggins for Simmons. That's
just a little bit. Because, I mean, if you go from potentially entertaining Simmons for Harden to Simmons for Wiggins, and then there's a part of me that wants to entertain Simmons for John Wall, but that's neither here nor there, just because I think that would be hilarious in its own right. Don't want the Houston Rockets cap tied up in that, though. But coming up, we got to get into NBA stock market Northwest division. We're going to do that in just a moment after a message from our friends over at Built Bar. Because if you haven't had a protein bar you've actually enjoyed before, you need to check out Built Bar. They have so many amazing flavors to choose from: coconut, raspberry, mint chocolate brownie, strawberry, my personal favorite, coconut brownie chunk. Matt, what's your favorite Built Bar flavor?
I like strawberry. It's really good.
There we go. All right. So many choices to choose from. Every single bar, low sugar, low cal, high protein, high fiber. Great if you're on a keto diet. Great if you're trying to lose weight. And the best part about these bars, right, is they're protein bars that basically taste like a candy bar. They're not gritty. They're not chalky like other protein bars on the market. You can check them out. Just visit built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your very next order. Again, that's built.com using promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your very next order.
We're also brought today by Bet Online. Jackson, I've put in so much money on NFL futures, just an absolutely gross amount on NFL futures, betting a lot of unders because that's always been profitable. And I have a long shot Browns-Falcons Super Bowl matchup ticket. That's definitely going to absolutely be money I set on fire by midseason. But if I want to do that, I got to go to Bet Online. It's that time of year again. All eyes are turned to football. Teams are back on the gridiron. As always, Bet Online is your number one spot for all the pro and college football action this season. You get all the updated odds, props, and contests, including the online's biggest $500,000 NFL mega contest and the world's largest $200,000 NFL Survivor contest. Open now at BetOnline. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today using promo code LOCKEDON to receive your 100% welcome bonus. You get to take advantage of their opening day super promo, which is you make a bet on the Thursday, September 9th season opener between the Super Bowl champion Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. Buccaneers are still like 6.5 in that game. And if you lose, your wager will be refunded up to $25 for new customers only when signing up and using promo code NFL100. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports, from football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait and take advantage of all the great offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. We'll be right back on Locked On NBA.
And final segment here at Locked On NBA Thursday, diving into NBA stock market Northwest Division. And first up, just like we did with the Southwest Division, if you missed us last week where we powered through the 5 teams in the Southwestern Division, we're going to go with we'll just go top to bottom, right, in the division.
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's start with the Utah Jazz then. So just quick summary as to what the Jazz have accomplished this offseason. They brought in Rudy Gay on a 2-year deal. They brought in Hassan Whiteside. They brought in Eric Pascal. Pascal. There we go. That one, his name always throws me off. Pascal. There we go. Drafted Jared Butler, 40th overall in this past NBA draft. They lost Derek Favors and Georges Niang. They also retained Mike Conley on a 3-year deal. So where are you at, Matt? Are we buying? Are we selling Utah Jazz?
We're holding on regular season. I have the Jazz as the number 1 seed again next season. Their schedule is exceptionally easy. The floor on this team is really high. Rudy Gobert is the best drop defender in the regular season, and everyone plays drop in the regular season. This is going to be another fantastic regular season team that flames out in the playoffs. That's how it's going to be, is that Rudy Gay will help them quite a bit. I think off the bench, I think that's a good upgrade for them. I like the moves that they made. Jared Butler was a great draft pick. This team gets schemed off. They just do. They get schemed out in the playoffs. It's not that Gobert gets played off the floor. It's that he's not able to punish switching defenses, which inherently mess up their offense overall, and then provides too much shooting for him to cover on the other end. It's not that it's all on Gobert. The perimeter defense from the other guys could be better, but they didn't upgrade any of that. They didn't move Ingles. They didn't move Bogdanovich. This team still has a lot of defensive weak points on the perimeter, and offensively, Gobert is a 0 unless he's dunking. So I will go ahead and maintain this is going to be a great regular season team. Love their buying their stock for the regular season, but selling them in the playoffs once again.
Yeah, so I mean, same idea in the sense I was going to ask if I was allowed to buy them in the regular season, then sell them come postseason, because that's essentially where I'm at. So I mean, whether that means I'm holding or whether that means I'm just selling overall, I don't buy into the fact that they addressed the issues that were so prevalent in this past postseason, issues that you and I addressed in many a post-game recap, talking about the Jazz's struggles and Rudy Gobert just, again, not being able to punish opposing teams. So I'm going to just say selling. So I'm going to go even further than just holding. I'm selling the Utah Jazz. So that brings us to your beloved Denver Nuggets.
Well, moved here in 2012, covered the team. Wouldn't say that they're beloved. My Grizzlies, I think, are beloved. But I'll say this.
That's fair. Not beloved, but maybe my beloved.
Everyone thinks it's though. Everyone's like, wait, but you're on Locked On Nuggets. I'll say this about the Nuggets. I'm buying them. I think this is a serious title contender by the time Jamal Murray gets back. I think they hold the fort until he does. I think Michael Porter Jr. makes a leap this season. I think Aaron Gordon fits better into the offense. I think they get some improvement from Zeke Naji. I think Bones Highland gives them a little bit of a bump. And this team is just, with Nikola Jokic, they're too good really to fall off. And they're proven to be a serious threat in the playoffs. The team is better in those moments when everything gets tough. I like their adversity. Their ability to handle adversity. I'm buying the Denver Nuggets.
Spoken like the host of Locked On Nuggets.
Yep.
Now, I'm inclined to agree. I buy Nuggets as well, mainly because I've been extremely high on them. And it's so funny. Like, I see, all these rumors like this past season, right? Of like, oh, okay, what's going on with Michael Porter Jr., all this stuff. Like, are they going to deal him? Is he, do he and, Mike Malone get along? Like, what's going on there? And I'm just like, who cares? Like, they're a young team. And I think that's the one thing that I think a lot of people miss out on, is they keep thinking the Nuggets have to do something drastic to be ready to like compete right now and be true title contenders. No, everybody's so young on that team that they can kind of weather the storm of some of these like upper echelon Western Conference teams, even though they are upper echelon Western Conference in my eyes. They can kind of weather the storm of like, what is it? LeBron's like fourth prime, and
Right.
kind of wait to see if he retires. Right. And Jokic will be entering his prime, Murray prime, Aaron Gordon prime. Like it's going to be really interesting to see where that team goes. I'm going to buy the Nuggets. All right. And that doesn't even include the additions that they had. I mean, they brought in Jeff Green, who's been, largely, nice impact player wherever he goes, whether in a spot starter role or off the bench. Bones Highland looked good in Summer League. Liked what I saw out of him. And then bringing back Will Barton, Austin Rivers, and JaMychal Green, key players, retaining those guys makes a lot of sense. Let's go up to who do we have next on our list? The Portland Trailblazers. Just got done with our hypotheticals.
Man,
there's so much up in the air with Portland. It's hard, right? Like there's.
Here's the thing: is like I like their summer. I like their summer a lot. Tony Snell was literally the best jump shooter in the league last season. He was literally objectively the best jump shooter in the league by shooting percentage last season.
They added, so just to run through their pieces, right? So obviously they recently had the 3-team trade acquiring Larry Nance Jr. They added Cody Zeller, they added Ben McLemore, they added Tony Snell, they drafted Greg Brown III. They did lose Zach Collins. They traded Derek Jones Jr. They lost Melo to the Lakers and that group of geriatrics over there in LA now. And they lost Terry Stotts.
Lost Melo.
Lost Melo. Yeah. You're right. My bad. Lost Melo.
Melo.
And they brought in Chauncey Billups. So,
yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If Billups is the coach that Neil O'Shea is banking that he is, this team could wind up being like a 4 seed and being like the team that's like oh, look out. Like, look, what a great story. Dame was going to leave. And now, like, look at them. They're in Syria. And then they're going to lose in the playoffs again, because I don't think that you can build a good defense with Dame and Yusuf Nurkic together. Not that Nurkic is a bad defender. It's just that he can only play drop. And if you have to play a drop, Dame has to get over the screen, and Dame can't get over the screen. And CJ McCollum can't get over the screen. They're too, like, this team added Robert Covington next to Nurkic along with Norman Powell, and they still couldn't get stops. So this team is just never going to be able to get stops. I like the moves that they made on the bench, especially because that unit, those bench units with Nance and Zeller. Zeller, surprisingly last season, this shocked me, was one of the best switching centers in the league last season per possession. Suffers in other coverages, but Zeller's really good at switching. So is Larry Nance. Larry Nance is a really high-level defender now at this point in his career. They have real defenders and some more versatility, but their core unit, I don't think that they can actually get the stops that they need. And as good as their offense is, it's never enough. So I will sell with the caveat that it wouldn't shock me if they had another strong regular season. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but I do not believe this team can win a title or make the finals. I am selling their championship stock.
Do you think CJ McCollum is still a Blazer post trade deadline this season? And that could be any time between now and trade deadline, like that he gets dealt, right? I'm not putting a timetable. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yes. I will say that yes, he is, because I think if things go haywire, you don't trade CJ because you basically know you're losing Dame, and you wait, and then you try and rebuild with CJ. I think that's the O'Shea approach. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my best guess is that CJ McCollum remains a Blazer into the next summer.
I'm gonna hold the Blazers for now.
Okay.
Because I think they're in an interesting position. And you're right, the acquisitions that they have made, and Dame could do Dame things, right? And the West could be a bloodbath, and maybe the Blazers luck out in a few spots, and they could be in that 4 to 6 range. And again, if Billups pans out as the coach, right? There's a lot going on there. I'm gonna hold the Blazers for now. Let's go. Who is technically the worst team between these last two?
It's gotta be the Thunder is the worst. Timberwolves have to be next.
There we go. Okay. So we'll do T-Wolves next. So basically a whole lot of nothing for the T-Wolves. Brought in Patrick Beverley, and they lost Jarrett Culver and Juancho Hernan Gomez and Ricky Rubio, and they didn't retain anybody, and they didn't extend anybody. They have so much talent. Like, they should start putting it together? How much time do you give Cat and D'Lo and hope that they do something together?
I'm
That's a talented
buying.
duo on paper.
I'm buying. I'm buying
You're
the Wolves.
buying?
I'm buying the Wolves. You want to know why?
Okay,
Chris
why?
Finch. Chris Finch, like there were real signs towards the end of the season that Chris Finch had them actually competing and turning things around. I think another full year with development from Anthony Edwards, with development from the rest of them, with Cat, no COVID stuff, a normal season. I think that there's a chance. We'll see what happens if they trade for Simmons. That's only going to increase. I think my position on the Wolves. I like them. I just
Okay,
do. I think
so first off, what are you trading for Simmons though?
D'Lo, who's good friends with them, which would be awkward, but that's like the only move that you can. Like that's the only thing you can trade.
So you're high on a core of Cat, Simmons, and Anthony Edwards at
Yeah,
that point.
yeah. Edwards gives
And
you scoring.
and depending on how much if he continues to throw around his weight, potentially Tyrese Maxey as well if Rich Paul has his way and ships him out with Ben
Well,
Simmons.
Kendrick Perkins says that's not true, which Nerlens Noel had a really funny quote tweet about that. Look, I don't know what that trade looks like. I really don't. Maybe it's, the hope is like it's just Malik Beasley and whatever else, and I don't think that gets it done, right? So I'm skeptical of the Wolves actually getting the trade done. If they get it done, I like it even better. But if not, look, I think Edwards was really good last season. I think that he's a guy that, the shooting numbers weren't going to be good because most rookie shooting numbers aren't good. I think another season, strength training, the whole work, he gets better. I think Cat is phenomenal. I think he's just an incredible player. I think Chris Finch is a really good coach. Is going to get the most out of the offense. I think they'll sneak up on some teams. I'm not saying this is going to be like a playoff team. I could see them hanging around and potentially snagging 9 or 10 and being a pain. And it wouldn't, if somebody has a bad game in the play-in tournament, I could see them slipping in to a playoff spot. Cat's really good. This team has been mismanaged and really badly coached for a lot of years. And I think that they finally got the guy that they need. They're not going to be good defensively. Look at the West. Most of the teams aren't going to be good defensively. Like some of the powerhouses in the Western Conference are Dallas, can't defend. Portland, can't defend. The Nuggets, only sometimes. Like, it's an offensive league, and it's an offensive conference. And so I think the Wolves can hang in there and maybe I'll put it this way. I'm buying them because I think one of either them or the Kings surprise teams this season.
If you had to put your money on which one you think surprises people,
I'll take the Wolves just because the Kings are such the Kings. Just so very the Kings. Just
so very the Kings. I can't.
I know. I get it. But here's the thing: is just like we always have one team that surprises, right? There's always like last year was the Knicks. Like nobody saw the Knicks coming, and I think the Knicks roster is better than the Wolves. But I think the Wolves have a lot of room for upward growth. They're still very young, and they've got
the Pelicans are my surprise team. Like that's the team that I feel has the chance to really step in and put it together this season. So that's why I'm also not like willing to buy in on Timberwolves because I already bought in on Pelicans as being my kind of like surprise. Okay, they're making that step this season.
My argument for you there would be I think the Pelicans chemistry is real bad, and it has been real bad. I think it's a dangerous combination of personalities in that locker room. And I think the Wolves genuinely like each other.
There's something to be said for that chemistry there, but it's not enough to sell me on the Timberwolves, which is why I'm selling the Timberwolves.
Okay.
So that brings us to our final team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, which I feel like kind of puts us in a very similar predicament as to when we were discussing the Houston Rockets. How do you buy, sell, evaluate a team that is clearly rebuilding and clearly just stockpiling and accumulating assets and developing young talent? Do we assess their offseason? Do we assess how we think they're going to do relative to last season? Do we just count the number of first round draft picks Sam Presti has in his cupboard and grade him based on that? How do we approach this, Matt?
I have the Thunder currently at 19 wins.
And
I may lower them still.
Oh,
And they're not the worst team in the league. So there's that.
Who do you have lower than the Thunder at 19 wins?
The Orlando Magic. I have the Magic with 13 wins currently.
Oh my.
I think the Magic are going to be bad. I think the Magic are going to be bad. Like,
that's brutal.
Amazing levels of bad. I think the Thunder will just be bad. I don't, they won the games that they did last season in large part because of an early season run. Horford was playing, Shea was playing. This is one of the weird things. Like, they extended Shea, but I still think he's probably shut down by mid-season. This team has not obfuscated their intentions. They've made things very obvious. Like, the Rockets got Alperen Şengün in part because the Thunder were just literally like, he might make us too good next year. And like, they're just going to keep taking swings to get superstars. They're just going to keep taking, like, this is the process. It really is. It is, without all of the histrionics that came with it being in Philly and all the attention and calling it that. The Thunder operate a lot quieter, to their credit, but
there's definitely not the same spectacle.
Yeah.
Although, you still walk around in almost any NBA conversation with anybody who cares about, things that are taking place off the court as far as transactions go. And, Sam Presti's name's going to pop up as to what he's been doing, this assets that he's accumulating, the rinse, wash, repeat of take in veterans, take on a draft pick or two to take on unwanted contracts, offload said unwanted contracts, waive people, buyouts, all of this, rinse, wash, repeat over and over until you own every draft pick between now and 2030. At some point, they have to cash in those draft picks, though. Like, you can't just keep accumulating draft picks.
No, but they're just waiting to see what their lottery picks are. Like, you start moving them once you have your core, right? They missed in the lottery. Like, they missed in the lottery. Like, I'll tell you this. Yeah. Jackson, honest to God, I don't expect the Thunder to even start building upward until 2023-24. I think this year is a miss. I think next year is a miss. I think the year after that is when they will actually start building upward.
So you don't think Shea is part of their future?
No, I think Shea was rewarded with a contract because, one, it makes his deal. It makes it easier to move him later if you've got multiple years. But I also think I do think that there is a sense from them of like, no, we really like it. Like, we think you're a great worker. We think you're good for our culture. You fit with with how we operate. Because they are still like, this is a very professional team. They just lose professionally. And they intend to lose professionally. And so if Shea gets to a point where he wants out, Sam Presti will probably accommodate that request. But at the end of it, he'll have made a ton of money. And he'll probably have a very good young team around him to maybe do something with. But I do not anticipate the Thunder moving forward towards contention, even towards looking at being a playoff team, like with the same team down the line until 2024.
So that said, we need a fourth term. But we need something more. We need something past buy, sell, and hold.
We're going to short them. That's it.
We're short them. There we go. Okay. All right. We're shorting the Thunder because of all of the Presti shenanigans. The Prestiing. That's not processing. It's Prestiing.
The prestiging.
The prestiging. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, we got to float that over to Rylan. He's going to love that one. All right. Well, that covers our NBA stock market Northwest. Be sure to tune back into Locked on NBA Thursday next week, as we will be doing the Pacific Division as we wrap up the Western Conference, as we are progressing throughout the NBA offseason and getting ready for NBA basketball, which is under 50 days away, Matt. We are under 50 calendar days away from the start of the NBA season. Are you ready for it?
I'm actually really excited and ready. I'm ready to do it. Let's go. I got a few weeks off. That's all I really needed. I'm ready to go. I can't wait for the season to start.
It's going to be an exciting season, absolutely. But for today's episode, that is going to do it. So if you haven't done it yet, please be sure to subscribe to the show on the brand new Locked on NBA YouTube channel. Subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast, be it Apple, Spotify, Google the brand new Odyssey app. We would sincerely appreciate it. Be sure to follow Matt on Twitter at HP Basketball. You can follow me on Twitter at JT Gatlin. Be sure to check out all of Matt's work over at Action Network as well as Locked On Nuggets. You can catch me and all my Klutch City ravings over at Locked On Rockets. But for today's episode, that's going to do it. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for listening. We look forward to having you back right here at Locked On NBA Thursday.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.